It's been nearly a year since the massive crash of silver price, and of course we've seen the wonderful recovery of that silver price over this last year. It has been a roller coaster year. We can learn a lot from what's happened though, and I want to talk today about the new world of silver in the United Kingdom and globally as well, because we are all connected now by this huge global catastrophe, this economic fallout which is yet to come. And silver and gold ownership is going to be very important going forward. So let's crack on and have a good old ramble about precious metals into the future. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Now it's been nearly a year to the week since the United Kingdom went into full lockdown mode, and we also saw some huge drops in the price of silver. It's of course been a roller coaster year. We all know that. It has certainly been a year not to forget if you're a silver stacker, or now, as many are, brand new silver stackers and gold investors. There are a myriad of new people joining the fold of precious metal ownership. But also in the United Kingdom, there's been a huge fundamental shift that I've noticed in the way that we interact with, own, buy and sell our precious metals, silver in particular, gold not so much, but silver definitely in a post-Brexit United Kingdom. We're now 10 weeks out since that transition period ended, and there's still a lot of unknowns. There's still a lot of really interesting elements to talk about with regards to the effect on the market for silver in the United Kingdom, and I want to address some of those here today, because looking back at what's happened, looking back at sentiment, looking back at the information that we have is pretty much the only way that one can glean any information or any understanding about what could happen into the future. Now, I do want to emphasize that I am not any kind of financial guru or investment machine or anything stupid like that. I am just a guy who critically thinks about things and then talks about them and rambles about them here on YouTube. So any financial decisions that you make are yours and yours alone. And I think it's really important to remind people of that just because somebody says something on YouTube doesn't mean it's going to be true. And that's one of the things that I want to start with, because there is no doubt that silver ownership and gold ownership, gold awareness, and the whole precious metal investing community has grown considerably since lockdown started and economic fallout started. I noticed it on my channel almost immediately when lockdown had really kind of kicked in. Views just went through the roof on my older videos and newer videos alike. It was a really interesting period to be a commentator here on YouTube about precious metals. But I have certainly noticed that there are a lot of people who will believe wholeheartedly what they hear from other people, and it's not always the case. My channel and my view has always been very pragmatic, very kind of real world, and to a certain degree I kind of feel like I've been vindicated in my approach to to just the way that I look at and invest in and feel about precious metal ownership. And I'm not here to spout off that silver will shoot the moon. I'm not here to say that we're going to squeeze silver and achieve $1,000 an ounce silver. I think it's evident that's not going to happen. I think that there's huge bandwagon jumping on that from so many different avenues for very many different reasons. Let's not underestimate the amount of manipulation that's out there in the silver markets. Whilst I am not any kind of conspiracy theorist, I will wholeheartedly agree that there is incredible manipulation of the silver markets. Now, what I see most is the manipulation of the physical markets by pretty much dealers. Now, I'm not saying that there's a big conspiracy where they all get round a table or big Zoom call now and they all go to each other, right, we're all going to increase our premiums to make as much money as we possibly can. That's just natural business. That's the capital market system at work. That is what businesses do. They will make sure they can earn as much money by buying as low as they can and selling as high as they can. That is just the nature of things. But it's been very much more emphasized over this last couple of months and year, to be honest. We saw at the start of this process, silver, which by all accounts, a lot of people would have thought should have really held value or gone up and up and up, fall massively from, well, I'm going to do it in pounds because that's what I remember. It was about £14 an ounce in the United Kingdom, and it dropped all the way down to £9.50 an ounce, a huge, almost 50% drop in value. However, you could not, for love nor money, get hold of physical silver for that price. There was, I think, about an hour or two window when the price just completely collapsed. that you could. And I remember getting in touch with my dealer of choice, the European Mint, to say, now's the time. Let me know what you can get your hands on. I want to buy. And, he came back with one price which was at a pretty high premium. It was still pretty cheap silver in the grand scheme of things, and I took it on. But, I wasn't able to get £9.50 an ounce silver. There was a huge premium on top of it because, that's just the nature of the world. At the time, silver was going down because there were manipulations from paper markets, there were margin calls, there were banks and institutions that needed the cash, and they chose silver. Silver is always the kind of the second love child, if that makes sense. So gold, when it comes to these kind of things, is always the one that big institutions and funds and hedge funds and things like that, they want to hold on to. They don't want to get rid of their gold. And we saw that in action. We saw gold actually hold pretty good value at that particular time. And if you were forced to sell gold at the time, it was not necessarily as good. Silver, that's the one that was gone straight away. Now, once the dust settled, we saw massive gains of silver, of course, across the rest of the year. But that, in my mind, actually wasn't necessarily about gains on the metal itself. I think that was actually just an equalization of the real physical price of silver, the real actual demand for silver at the time. We saw still when prices were around the £9-10 an ounce mark, that here in the United Kingdom anyway, even with buying from Europe and not having to pay VAT in the UK, we were not able to get silver for less than £18-19 an ounce, which right now, when you look at it, if someone said to you, you could buy £18-19 an ounce silver, people would snap your hand off, and they do. I see it on the Silver Forum all the time. There are deals that come up where people will be selling a giant kilo bar for about that price, and it'll go within seconds sometimes. So for that kind of transparency, I think we can definitely sort of say that silver is very much now at its rightful place in terms of the new low. How far it's going to grow is, of course, the $1,000,000 question, and quite literally the question that we all want to know the answer to, and whether it's going to grow to £50 an ounce, £100 an ounce, £1,000 an ounce. Not really, in my mindset, am I a proponent of that, but I can definitely see that there are situations and circumstances that would allow that. That said, I want to now move on to how I view the silver buying and selling market here in the United Kingdom in a post-Brexit United Kingdom, because we now don't have access to the VAT-free silver from Europe, which means that UK buyers are pretty much beholden to a price of silver which has VAT applied to it, plus premiums at the moment from dealers. So you're looking at least 40%, sometimes even 50% premium on buying silver. And I just kind of see in my mind, if you're going to buy bullion grade silver, paying a 50% premium on it is just not good in my mind. I just can't fathom in my mind why people would be willing to go and pay that much of a premium on a bullion grade piece of silver when they could go and buy a piece of gold for only a few percentage over spot price, as opposed to 50% over spot price. That's, I guess, what my mindset is really struggling to get hold of. Now, I guess there's like this new norm that we need to kind of focus on and look at. As I said, the silver, around the 18, 19 pounds an ounce mark right now. That's kind of its new norm. That's where things are sitting right now for that spot price. I haven't seen it go drastically lower, and it's, there's been a few fluctuations because of things like Wall Street bets and SLV squeezes and things like that, which is just, a bunch of jokes really in my mind. I can't see that squeezing anything except the dealers taking advantage of the premiums on top of the silver that they sell. But maybe we will get used to the new norms of silver at £25 an ounce. I look at it a year ago and I would have said buying silver at £19-20 an ounce isn't a good deal, especially before when I could buy silver for £15 an ounce. So there's that same kind of disparity of £5-6 an ounce difference where, right now I would still be happy to buy silver at £18-19-20 an ounce. Am I happy to buy bulk silver bullion at £25-26-27 an ounce? No, but in time perhaps that will come around. Now, in terms of the selling side of things, I've definitely seen people selling silver at those levels, the bullion grade silver at the £25-26-27 an ounce mark, and people are buying it very well at the moment. And there's a lot of people who will be cashing out, I think, on the huge growths that they would have had. And despite all of the fact that silver can be bought at high premiums relative to gold, there's going to be a lot more money that's been made on some silver items than there are on the gold. I mean, take this particular Yale, this ugly pox-ridden goat, which I am also fondly reminded looks like myself from Mrs. Backyard Bullion every now and again. But let's take this as an example. Bought this pre-COVID crashes. I think it was like January 2020, and I think I haven't got a clue what I paid exactly for it, but from a rough standpoint, I would say it was around about £150 a coin, so £15 an ounce. You can sell this for £30, £30 an ounce right now, £300. That's twice, you're doubling your money, you're 100% return on that investment, which you cannot say in any way, shape or form is what's happened to gold. Nowhere near what you're doing for that. So there is most certainly this element of, well, if silver can be bought right, or bought then for that price, and it's now doing this, will it do it again in the future? Now, as I said, I'm very much a kind of real-world pragmatist, and whilst there are a lot of confluence of events that have happened in this last year, which I can most certainly see affecting economies into the future and the amount that people will be looking to flood into, governments will be flooding into industries and markets. All this money's got to come back somehow, and that's of course going to be through taxation and austerity, and I can most certainly see economies struggling into the foreseeable future, which of course increases inflation, devalues currency, which means this stuff becomes your golden friend or your silver friend. It really does. So there's going to be most certainly an uncertain, unsteady future going forwards. But one of the things that really confuses me is that we've seen some pretty much all-time highs for stocks and shares markets still. So the traditional kind of fiat currency markets really are still very buoyant, and it's going to be an interesting ride going forward as to what is right for precious metals. So I guess in summary, what can we learn from this last year of buying and selling precious metals? Well, not even selling, because a lot of people now are not selling. I've noticed most certainly that I think there's a lot of flippers. I think there's a lot of people who are cashing out on silver, but I also see a lot of people who are cashing into gold with that silver. The ratio has most certainly come in its favor for getting rid of some of the silver and getting hold of some of the gold. What will ultimately transpire is, I think, anybody's guess as to prices. I personally do not and will not invest in silver for it to go to the moon, for it to shoot to high proportions. The one thing that I can say for sure is that I don't like the idea of getting rid of silver right now. Now that might sound very strange considering I'm a hand-poured silver producer and I make pieces of poured silver which I sell. That's separate. I'm a business. I do that for my living, for my livelihood, and I have absolutely no issue whatsoever with things like these, the 1 ounce silver foreign bars. There you go. That's a sneaky peek if you've stayed around for this long. I do not mind selling silver when it's my business, but when it comes to my personal investments and stack, I really want to hold on to this stuff. I think that this stuff has got a lot more value to give over time, and cashing out now doesn't seem like the right thing for me. And when I do come to look to sell this stuff, it will be to get this converted into this. These coins, these bars, the silver that I hold here is the budget for gold purchasing going forward. So as and when the time comes to get hold of more gold, that is what goes first for me, silver. And I think that's a sentiment which we can all learn from, and we can observe as well as pretty much how it goes in the bigger, wider world as well. There will be a lot of investors out there that will think the same. Assets that they can get rid of first, which are less volatile. Let's get rid of silver first, let's get hold of gold later. That is, I think, something that a lot of people will live by. Now, it might not be what you agree with, and I'd love to know your opinions on the subject. All I ask is that you be respectful of mine and other people's opinions when you comment down below. If you're just going to shout at people and be an obtuse troll, it's a one-way ticket to Banville. That I have no problems doing. So let us know what you think down below. It'd be really interesting to get a good opinion on stuff. Platinum. I haven't even talked about platinum. I got this out here to say platinum's also seen some massive growth in this last couple of weeks and months, and it's certainly something to not ignore. Whether or not it will be the new gold, whether it will overtake gold, whether it will be the new palladium. Platinum used to be the palladium in terms of numbers, and of course it's been overtaken by palladium. Who knows? But it is a market not to be ignored, and all I think I can say in summary is that there's been a huge shift in silver ownership in the world. I think there's a lot more people who've been brought into the fold. Of course, there's been the Wall Street bet side of things, which has also really kind of grown awareness for ownership of silver. But I don't think we've got to a point where it's going to be on the tongue and on the lips of every single household in the world and people struggling to get hold of whatever they can. We're not there yet, and I don't think we ever will be, to be honest, because the world doesn't work like that. The world works on fiat currency. It works on pounds, pennies, pence, dollars, and cents. You know, these notes, these promissory notes, is what makes the world go round, not what you see on the table here. So that's my final summary, my final thoughts on the matter. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Otherwise, if you've enjoyed this Sunday ramble about precious metals, then please do hit that thumbs up button. And if you like this video, you might well like some of the videos that I do in the future. So hit that subscribe button with the alarm bell if you want to see videos like this again. Otherwise, have a fantastic week ahead. We'll see you all on the next video. And as always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.